Take one.
You need a good snap. We could fix that. I could probably fix it tonight. I'm wondering if that was already stuck in there.
The guys are in action. I freaking love it. That's better.
Hey, Tony and Corey here, your PARR Weekend Warriors. We're back in the workshop where we just completed this amazing potting bench.
If you want to see how we did it, stay tuned.
We're back in the workshop today with another unique project.
Today, we're building a potting bench.
Yes, so we reached out to our friend Erin Harding over at Clever Bloom. She's an author and a general
Plant expert.
So we asked her for some opinions on what we should do, and she said in the potting bench, she gave us all kinds of ideas. So we kind of came up with something in our head, and that's what we're gonna do today. So the first one that she said that it should be made out of cedar, which I love because cedar smells amazing and it lasts forever. One of my things though is I thought that we should be concerned with our costs. We definitely don't want this thing to cost too much money. The third one was longevity. We want to make this thing strong and we want to make it to last. So longevity. The fourth one was storage. She said she definitely would want it to have lots of storage. Doors, shelves, somewhere to hang our tools, stuff like that. And the last one was easy cleanup. She gave me an idea, because when you're potting plants, you made a mess.
It's a messy business.
So you're moving dirt into other pots, you're kind of moving dirt all around. She gave me this really good idea on how to make it so there's easy cleanup. All right, Tony, so I just whipped this up. What do you think?
No, it looks good.
So here's my thought. We'll build this thing out of pressure-treated lumber, which you can kind of see here in the frame, and then we'll clad it with cedar. And I'm thinking that we'll use cedar fence boards around the perimeter here and on the back. It's a really inexpensive building material. You can buy fence boards, super cheap. It'll still look really good, like it's made out of cedar. And then my thought is the top, we'll build that out of tongue and groove cedar, like you see there. And then, this is that little feature I was telling you about. So the top here will have this plug that has a hole in it, and then you can pop it out, move it out of the way, and then insert this grid. As you can see, if you have any dirt on top, you can just sweep it into the holes, and it'll drop down into the bucket below.
The bucket. And I see you've built a little chute in there.
Yeah, I thought the distance from the bottom of the countertop to the top of the bucket seemed a little far.
Yeah, you don't want the dirt all willy-nilly.
Yeah, we don't want it going everywhere. But the nice part about this is it stays nice and hidden underneath. There's plenty of space down here for other things like bags of soil or pots or tools or whatever. And the other thing that came to mind when I was designing this is airflow. Here in the Pacific Northwest, we get a lot of rain, and if things get sealed up too tightly, you get a lot of rot and mold. So I wanted this thing off the ground, give it plenty of room to breathe underneath, and at the front of this shelf here, you can see that there is space for air to flow through there. So I think this is a really cool design. I made it plenty big, and it's pretty strong. I think it's gonna be something that's gonna last forever.
I think so too, and it looks good, and it's user-friendly. I mean, it's functional.
So the first thing we need to do is build the frame. So we need to get this here built. So what I'm gonna do is pull some dimensions off of this, and we're gonna build it on a 4x4 PT, 2x4 PT, and the rest is gonna be fence boards and a couple other pieces of cedar.
Great, let's get to cutting and assemble this baby.
All right, let's go. Okay, we've got our design completed. We've got our material list made. So what we did, we ran over to PARR Lumber. We picked up everything we need for this build. We've got 2x2 clear cedar, 1x6 tongue and groove tight knot cedar.
We got 4x4 PT, 2x4 PT.
Some miscellaneous hardware, handles, hinges. I think we've got everything we need. And we got it all for under 400 bucks.
It's a great deal. This is gonna be a cool project. I can't wait to get started.
Let's get it cut up and get it built. All right, Tony, let's start on the frame. First, we're gonna need to cut these 4x4s down for the legs.
Legs, it's 52.5. I'm willing to put $1 on it. This is a 4x4 8-foot piece of pressure-treated material, very common commonly used for a fence post. And so we're using it for this project, of course, because it's gonna be on the ground and the ground is wet and of course holds water, and we wouldn't want that to rot the legs out from underneath our project. So we've chosen pressure treated material for the legs, and that's what we're cutting first.
All right, we got everything for the frame cut.
I got everything from the frame cut.
That's right. I hauled it though. So now we just need to cut up all the cedar. So I'm gonna bring in the fence boards and we'll get all those cut to length.
Okay.
All right, Tony, now that we've got some space, why don't you grab those 4x4s, the longer ones, and the 52.5-inch 2x4s.
Check. Legs 1 and 2. 1, 2, and 3.
So we're gonna screw this first one at 12.25 inches from the bottom. So if you wanna mark a line. So we're using these 3-inch guard dog screws with our Makita brushless impactor.
Okay, top rail is at
35.25.
35.25. That's the back.
Okay, now let's get the 3 posts for the front and screw the rails on the front.
Legs 3, 4, and 5. And rails. 2 at
55.5.
55.5.
So our first piece here on our front legs, they overlap the side rails. So we're making sure to use a scrap piece on the side here so that we can line it up perfectly so it's 1.5 inches past. So one of the reasons we like these guard dog screws is because they have a Torx drive, so they're less likely to strip out. And they have a cutting tip, so they drive in super easy, as you've probably seen. But one of the things to keep in mind too is that these are rated for this sort of lumber. Pressure treated lumber here in the Pacific Northwest that you buy at PARR Lumber Company has copper in it. And combined with other metals, you're gonna get corrosion. So these screws use a special coating to make that not happen.
Okay, situate that center 4x4 right after I get a screw in here.
Yeah, we'll be fine. Okay, let's measure out. We need to find the center line of these 2x4s so that we put that dead center.
55.5.
27.75.
27 3/4. You think you got enough screws in there?
It seems like a lot, but I like to use 4 screws at every intersection. That way you don't get any sort of racking.
Racking, yeah.
And you know, we like to build things strong.
We do.
So you may have seen me using this. This is called a speed square. And I like to use this tool whenever I need a straight line. What it has is a little ledge here so that I can put it on my piece of lumber, and it allows me to draw a perfectly perpendicular 90-degree angle to the surface that I have it on. So that's exactly where I need my piece of wood. So this is the front of our bench, and this is the back. Goes like that. And now we need to put our side pieces in.
4 pieces at 27.5?
Yep. Let's line this up.
It's coming together pretty fast.
Oh yeah. All right, last few pieces we have here are the rails on the top and then these filler pieces on the front. These are gonna go here. Our
Door sits flush.
doors can have something solid to sit on.
All right, Corey, so we cut these at 20.5, but as with everything else, everything is not always what you think it's gonna be. The dimensions of the 4x4 or the dimensions of the 2x4 can have a tendency to be a little bit thicker depending on the moisture content. This is all green lumber, and so it's got a lot of water in it. The more water that's in it, the bigger it is. Sometimes it's a little bit more than you thought it was gonna be. So we're gonna have to take about 1/8 of an inch off of these support pieces in the middle.
All right, Tony, this is just about perfect. We want these things to fit snug, not too snug, and not too loose. So this looks right on. So go ahead and drive a screw in there.
Now, because of the hole that we're gonna cut in the top over here, these 2x4s aren't gonna be the same on the left and the right.
No, we're gonna position those in such a way that our chute that we're gonna build slides, all the material slides right down into our bucket. So I'm using my speed square again to draw the line exactly on the edge of where I want my piece of lumber to go. We just need to put our fence boards down below to make our shelf.
All right, to fasten these bottom boards down for the bottom shelf, We just separated them out sort of evenly so that they covered the space, looks good. And we're gonna nail it down with the 18 gauge brad nails. This is a Makita brad nailer. Oh, 16 gauge.
16 gauge finish nails.
Finish nail, brad nail.
Finish nail.
It's a brad nail. So finish nails then. Because you end up with brad nails. We put 2 nails in each side, more than enough. These aren't going anywhere anyways. They're on the bottom, but just to hold them in place, we put 4 nails in each board, 2 in each end. Okay, so now we're ready to put the top on.
Let's get all the tongue and groove out here and we'll dry fit it and see what we look like.
Now we have a tongue and groove on every board.
Yep.
And we're gonna start with one board, which means if it's gonna look right, we need to rip the grooved end off the side.
Let's dry fit it to see where we land out here.
It's a little bit short because you also wanna rip the tongue off of this side.
We do want to rip the tongue off, and we have siding going on the front.
Another 5/8 of an inch.
So it needs to stick out probably like that. So what we're gonna end up doing is ripping our first piece, probably about 2 inches off. So then maybe 3, and then when we push it back, we can have a sixth piece that will rip to the exact width that we need.
Okay.
So let's take the table saw out and we'll rip the very first one and get started.
Table saw.
All right, Tony, let's rip this, and we're gonna use our brand new CTS compact table saw from SawStop. They sent this over us for use, and we love this thing. It's safe, and I don't have to worry about cutting my fingers off or Tony's.
So I was just thinking about the frame that's gonna be on the back of the door planks, and it looks like 20 inches is gonna be, anything under 20 inches will be perfect for the frame. And then of course we'll have to make sure it's centered in the planks.
Let's go 19 and a half.
19 and a half is good.
A 19 and a half width and height, 19. 19
so 19 by 19?
19 by, sure, 19 by 19
19
square.
by 19 square. That's what we're looking for, square.
Yep.
Okay.
So what we're talking about here is the doors. We were gonna pre-cut these, but we figured we'd get this thing framed up, so in case there were any dimensions that were slightly off. And so what we're trying to do is figure out the frame that we're gonna cut for the inside of this, that we're gonna screw these fence boards to. And our opening is 19 and a half by 20 exactly. So we're gonna make our frames 19 by 19. And then when we put our siding on there, they'll be exact.
Yeah, we'll use this 2x2 to frame up a little square box. 19 by 19, and then attach the cedar fence board planks to the front of it. Door, instant door.
That's what I said.
That's what he said.
We're gonna do a butt cut like this. And these are exactly 1.5 inches square. So if we need it 19 by 19, you add 1.5 inches and 1.5 inches, you get 3 inches. So 16 inches for 2, 19 inches for the other 2. Will net us 19 by 19. All right, so I'm gonna glue and screw these together. And since we're using butt joints, it's not a terribly strong joint. And since these are doors, they're gonna be able to get a lot of action. That's why I'm using this glue, and I'm using an exterior waterproof type glue. And 45 at the end of this one, cut it to length, and a 45 on the other end. Yeah, you want me to hold it? Yeah, what I would do is come up with a shim, like a 1/4 inch thick shim that we'll put under here to set this on.
Yeah.
And then I'll hold it there, and then you nail it on. And then I say we do a full piece here, full piece here, and then we'll rip the last one down the middle.
Okay. Does it look cool? Woo! Wow, you smell that?
Yeah, cedar.
Cedar smells amazing. I'm really glad that we used cedar. I feel like the look is unmatched.
Thank you so much for watching. If this is a project you're interested in, go check out our blog at PARR.com, where lots more information on this, and if you've got questions, we'll probably have the answers there.
Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Let us know in the comments below, what are you building?